We begin today by acknowledging that the land in which we gather is the traditional territory of the Woolastoq-Whig. These territories are covered by treaties of peace and friendship of the Woolastoq-Whig people, first signed with the British Crown in 1725. I now call our meeting to order. Attendance has been taken. It will be. Okay. Approval of the agenda.
So approved. Dale Morey.
Second, Dave Morrison.
Any discussion? Ready for the question?
Question?
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried. Are there any conflict of interest for disclosure today? Move on to now number 5, the committee reports. Regional Infrastructure Committee. Director DePussy, please.
Thank you, Madam Chair. The Regional Infrastructure Committee met on May 27, 2025. In attendance were myself, Marty Forsyth, Kate Rogers, Grant Sinclair, Clinton Sharp, Don Fitzgerald, Amanda Foy, Kelly Shaw, and Jihad Alzheimer. The meeting was called to order at 12:01 p.m. Jihad Alzheimer gave a presentation reviewing the background of the committee's trail connectivity discussions. There was a review of the goals of the committee. The committee completed so far in creating an inventory of sport, recreation, and cultural infrastructure, with trails recently added, as well as an update on the ongoing Blue Trails project. Short-term and medium to long-term goals based on previous conversations were discussed, identifying the need for planning, funding, and implementation. The committee was promoted to share thoughts on defining the roles of the committee, the board, the individual communities, and the Capital Region Service Commission. The committee had an engaged discussion on roles and next steps. There was agreement that the goal of the conversation around the trails is to work towards connecting different communities in the region together. The high popularity and value of ATV trail riding in many communities was discussed, as well as the obstacles ATV riders face, such as crossing waterways and regulations limiting access. There was acknowledgement from members that some of these issues are long-term problems to solve, and there is a value in identifying both short and long-term goals. There was conversation around the role of the committees and the board, and the clarification that decisions need to be made at a board level to reflect the wishes of the region. The committee agreed that moving forward, the Infrastructure Committee can do the following work: compile a map of the trails in the region, identify some potential connections between communities, and facilitate a conversation with the board to make decisions. At the board level, directors would be given an opportunity to express their interest in trail connectivity, identify connections of interest, municipalities they are interested in connecting with to develop agreements and plans. It was mentioned that some communities do not have sufficient staff or resources to facilitate intermunicipal trail connections, and that the Capital Region Service Commission could then re-enter the conversation and assist those communities. There was interest from the committee members in a workshop setting to have these conversations with the board and bring in ATV clubs, snowmobile clubs, ski clubs, etc. into the conversation down the road. After clarifying direction to staff and move forward on trail connectivity, the conversation shifted to budget planning. The committee members were asked to consider 2026 budget priorities related to committee work and bring any ideas to the next meeting. There being no further discussion, the meeting was adjourned at 12:56 p.m. I move that the Capital Region Service Commission receive this report of the Infrastructure Committee dated today, June 26, 2025.
I have a seconder.
I'll second it, Len Faulkner.
Any discussion?
Did we?
Recording in progress.
I know
Yes.
I can't put my hand up because I don't know how to do it, but did we talk
We'll
about,
teach you for next time.
okay,
Well,
Did we
go
talk
ahead.
about mapping?
I'm sorry, Director Sharp, I couldn't hear the question. Could you repeat that, please?
Did we not talk about mapping, or that we were going to start mapping or looking at mapping?
Yes, and that'll be in the next report there, sir. We do have that in there, so that'll be in the second report as well.
Okay. Thank you.
No further discussion? Ready for the question? All those in
Yes, sir.
favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried. Now we'll move on to B, the Regional Infrastructure Committee. Director DePussy, please.
Thank you, Madam Chair. The Regional Infrastructure Committee met on June 24th, 2025. In attendance were myself, Marty Forsyth, John Jackson, Grant Sinclair, Clinton Sharp, John Smith, CEO, Amanda Foy, Kelly Shaw. The meeting was called to order at 12 p.m. The committee had a requirement under our bylaw P-11, section 3.9.2 to report the work of the Regional Infrastructure Committee to the minister. Over the past year, the committee has been working on several topics related to infrastructure in the Capital Region. The Capital Region Service Commission recently posted a map of sport and recreational infrastructure in the region on the website. This map provides local users with information and assists in the identification of assets for economic development, promotion, and tourism purposes. At this time, none of the infrastructure in the region has been identified as regional in nature. The committee agreed to advance the attached letter to the board for consideration to be sent to the Minister of Local Governance Reform for information purposes and to be compliant with the CRSC bylaw P-11. Amanda Foy gave an update on the Blue Trails project, ongoing in partnership with Planet Hatch and Explore Everywhere Media. CEO Smith gave an update on the Regional Trail Connectivity Project, ongoing in partnership with Gemtech. The committee discussed the budget for 2026. There was conversation around the inherent difficulty in preparing a budget for the year before knowing exactly what initiatives or projects the committee may wish to act on in that year. However, considering the current momentum and cost, it was agreed that the work done in 2026 is likely to be more expensive. I'm taking the in out of the inexpensive on that and going with more expensive than the work completed in 2025. It was acknowledged that the municipalities will face financial challenges in 2026 due to provincial tax assessment freezes. The committee directed staff to maintain the current budget for work in sport, recreation, and cultural infrastructure for the 2026 budget. The committee decided to not schedule the next committee meeting until September 2025 in alignment with the board and other committee schedules. There being no further discussion, the meeting was adjourned at 12:56. Respectfully submitted. And I would also move that the board of the Capital Region Service Commission receive report of the Regional Infrastructure Committee on this date, June 26, 2025.
Have a seconder?
Marty Forsyth.
Any discussion? Yes, Craig, Director Craig.
Thank you, Madam Chair, and thank you, Director DePussy, for submitting this report. I do have a few questions. First one being, you didn't actually amend the report by changing the meaning of that sentence. You just wanted to stress that it was going to be more expensive next year to do our work than it was this year.
I thought it read awkward, Greg, is the only reason I thought it should read less inexpensive or more expensive. So that's why I took the in out. Excellent.
I think the clarity there is appreciated. One of the things that I was hoping as someone interested in this topic is that the budget conversation for this committee for next year would at least include all of the things in our bylaw that are required of the committee to perform in every year. When I look at the sections highlighted in the documents attached to the staff report, there's a lot of work there that apparently needs to be done, such that when I hear something like no infrastructure has been identified in a regional nature, and none since the committee was formed, I kind of wonder, why you're picking and choosing to do some of the things in the bylaw, but not all of the things in the bylaw. So I'm curious whether or not the board needs to put forward a motion to make sure that the committee undertakes all of the work required of it in a given year, or if we need to have a conversation about relieving the committee of some of these responsibilities.
Okay, Madam Chair, through you, are you directing the question to me, Director Erickson, or to our CEO?
To the chair, and I'll let her pick the CEO or however she wants to deal with it. But I mean, we
Okay.
need the things assigned to this committee done. The city of Fredericton has a tremendous interest in making sure that facilities are established as either regional or not for the purposes of our growth and our ability to attract provincial and federal funding. So this is not a simple or a soft issue. We need actually to make some progress on this so that the city of Fredericton and our region can grow.
Yes, Mr. Smith, please.
Director Blessy, do you mind if I field that question? Sir, through
No,
the chair.
perfect.
To Director Erickson, fully agreed overall in terms of that. This is work that has been progressing since basically over the past year. So after during, if you remember, the committee did look at the aquatics facility at that time and considered that and presented that to the board. So this is the work emanating since that time, since June of last year, at the end of June, and that we're going forward on this. The looking down through the list in terms of that is looking at what we have talked about. The conversation in the committee is actually an ongoing conversation about infrastructure. So, when we look at what, what we've looked at in terms of the committee considers, regional in nature, well, nothing that we've been working on this particular year. This could lead to something that is regional in nature. We discussed this at the last meeting. The board member or the committee members did, in terms of this could be truly an opportunity for regional cooperation on trail development, blue trail, green trail, off-road trail, whatever you look at in terms of this. In terms of how to, in terms of looking at the infrastructure and inclusion, we have to really look at how that conversation unfolded. And then the list of members that should contribute, well, you don't contribute to something if you don't have anything that's identified. So the reality is, for the next part of this, what we're talking about is the letter that would go to the minister pursuant to our bylaw. And that in that letter talks about what we've been working on and some of our accomplishments, such as now we have the infrastructure assets identified in the region. We have a trails map identified in the region. We're working on a blue trails map identified in the region. And these are not connected at this time, so therefore not regional in nature, but could be through the work of the committee and the direction of the board. This is a long-term vision at this point, Director Erickson, and we can certainly have a conversation around the work that the committee does, and maybe have a more robust on that in the future.
Madam Chair, I'd be happy to respond briefly. I think that's an excellent direction moving forward. We might need to make that part of a budget conversation because it's a substantial amount of work. I mean, by virtue of excluding everything, you kind of trigger a ton of work to flow out of D in the letter to the minister, which says a statement of all rationale for any infrastructure excluded from the list, which identifies, and it goes through a list of things that need to be identified when you exclude stuff. So, we've kind of stumbled into, what would be a ton of work there. So I do think we need to sit down and have a conversation about how to come up with a comprehensive work plan to move forward. Thank you.
Thank you.
Madam Chair, if I may, just in response, and Director Erickson, we recognize that in this particular committee overview, it's a very robust piece of work in that, and we're going to be looking at reviewing that and bringing that back to the board in the fall, just so that we don't have to have conversations in the future about what's in, what's out, that type of thing. Thank you, sir.
Any further discussion? Ready for the question? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried. And your last motion, Director Pussy, please.
Okay, I move that the Board of the Capital Region Service Commission forward the attached letter to the minister in accordance in accordance with section 3.9.2 of the procedural bylaw P-11. And you all have a copy of the letter, I believe.
Second by,
Clinton Sharp.
Director Sharp.
any discussion? No discussion? Ready for the question?
Question.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried. Thank you, Director Duplessis. Move on to number 6, the staff reports. A, Community Promotional Funding Program. Mr. Smith, please.
Madam Chair, I just wanted to make the board aware of the Community Promotional Funding Program is currently under review. We were notified by the province on June 13th that this is under review. Some communities have reached out and asked if when they would have their funding application would be shared with them. It is all ready to go. It's branded, it's ready. We've had inquiries from on multiple levels for four different groups looking for funding. 3 are the established groups in the region with the city of Fredericton, the community of Oromocto, the Oromocto Healthcare Physician Recruitment Group, and now the Arcadia Group. So we've been in contact with them, and we've been having some discussions with regard to that. I just wanted to make sure that everybody knew that until the review process is over, we have not received the $50,000 in funding from the province at this time. I also want to assure the board that all of our reporting requirements were compliant within the timelines that were given on the every year. We normally fill out a report in April because they use fiscal year at the end of March 31st. And we have all of our documents were filed in compliance and on time. So it's nothing that we're doing to hold it up. We're just waiting to hear back from the minister on that.
Any questions for Mr. Smith on this topic? Don't see anybody's hand up. Okay, thank you. And we'll move on to number B, Premier Holt meeting verbal update, please, Mr. Smith.
Thank you, Madam Chair, through you to the members. So I want to first say this not in any flippant or saucy way. I just wanted to inject a little humor. Director Powell, you got your wish. We're going to have it on. It looks like it will not be on Friday the 25th, but it will be on Monday the 28th in the morning. So I hope that's more amicable within that. The Premier's office has confirmed that she will be here in attendance with regional caucus members that are available. And we'll have a 1 hour time segment with her and the caucus members. And I know that some of them have been out to different communities, but this would be a great opportunity to have everyone together. We have an agenda and a briefing note that will be shared with the members here shortly. And we'll be able to start that discussion and be preparing for that meeting. In that meeting, we're looking at making a short presentation on the overall on the commission and really opening it up to an opportunity to have some discussion on things about aligning with government priorities and aligning our priorities as the Capital Region Service Commission with that of the government of New Brunswick, and ensuring that our priorities are heard as well. And so we'll have a range, you'll have a broad range and an opportunity to have a discussion there with the members and of course the Premier. And I understand that Minister Kennedy will be attending as well. If you recall, he gladly came to our meeting in January and was very well received at that meeting. So we're looking forward to this conversation. And if there's any issues or concerns, reach out to myself at any time. Just a little spoiler on that. I am heading out on vacation for a couple of weeks, but I will be monitoring emails and phone calls as I always do. And as some of you know, I've had conversations on holidays and weekends and evenings, so I don't shy away from that. Feel free if there's something that you need, feel free to reach out at any time. So.
Any questions for Mr. Smith on that verbal update?
Just which month were we talking about?
Sorry, 28th of July, Director Sharp. Thank you. We'll have an invitation out and my placeholder, an invitation and an agenda out to that. And we'll look over at a few more things there. As I look over at Kelly and she's writing it down quickly. Thank you.
I'd just like to thank everyone for participating today in our special directors meeting. Appreciate you taking the time. I only have one question. I look at the screen and Director Powell, you're on there twice.
He finally cloned himself. Pretty important guy.
I don't know
So
which
any
one's
mo-
more handsome.
Neither.
I'd like a motion for adjournment, please,
Most of them are Dave Morrison.
and second by,
Powell and
David
Powell.
Haber.
did you get that, Kelly?
Yes.
And we wish John a relaxing vacation, and I highly
Absolutely.
suggest, unless it's an emergency, try to not contact him. We do have office staff here that are working overtime, and I'm sure that they can help you out if you have any problems. I know I myself personally will not be emailing Mr. Smith. It would have to be a really emergency. I will go through staff. So thank you, everybody, and we'll see you on later in July.
Excellent.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye, everyone. Thank you, everyone.
Happy Canada